we present Jimmy Clitheroe as the Clitheroe Kid with Peter Sinclair, Patricia Burke, Danny Ross and Diana Day in...
James, the Little Gentleman.
Jimmy, I just can't believe it. I'm flabberfounded, dumbgasted. Yeah, I'm completely bewildered.
Thank goodness. For a minute, I thought there was something the matter with you.
Oh, no, don't be funny. Is it true what you've just told me?
Yep, Grandad's been left £5,000. Smashing. It works out at 425,000 whipped cream walnuts.
Oh, you're here, Alfie.
Yeah, hey, Susan, Jimmy's just been telling me about your granddad's wind bag. Downfall, wind-up.
If you mean his windfall, what about it?
Okay, is it really £5,000?
Well, that's what the solicitor told him on the phone. About 5,000, he said.
Who left him all this money?
An old sailor friend he once knew. A Frenchman who made a lot of money trading out east.
He just think, all that lovely money.
What time are you leaving, Alfie?
Yeah, about £5,000. I mean, about 7:05. I've got to be at the rugby club at 15:15.
Oh, well, I'll walk down on my own then.
Where are you going, Susan?
I'm going to Doris Carter's. I wanted to make me a new dress.
Oh, you can have a fur coat now we're rich. And here comes Susan Clitheroe, wearing an off-the-shoulder creation in real goatskin. And I'm sure you're all thinking what I'm thinking. I'll bet it looked better on the goat.
Jimmy, why do you talk such absolute rubbish?
Because I'm only a lad. What's your excuse?
Anybody seen my glasses?
Glasses? Is it opening time already?
My reading glasses. I want to look at the paper.
Jimmy's just been telling me about the money you've had left you.
Has he? I bet he's been telling everybody.
The whole street knows about it by now.
If he's told that Mrs. Butterworth next door, the whole town will know.
Can I come in?
Oh, no. Talk of the devil. Come in, Mrs. Butterworth.
Hello, Mr. Sinclair. Who's going to be a millionaire? You are.
I gather Jimmy's told you then.
Told me he's offered me a job here as permanent cook.
Mrs. Butterworth, I said only mention it to him when he's in a good mood, not when he's sober.
Excuse me, Mrs. Butterworth. I want to have a word with Alfie in the kitchen. Come on, Alfie.
You're right, Susan. I'll see you later, everybody.
Oh, how they take me back to my courting days. My old man used to get me in the back row of the pictures. And when the lights went down...
Jimmy, what are you doing at the moment, son?
Listening to Mrs. Butterworth.
Oh, you should have heard us. Whose rosy lips are these? Yours, love. Whose dainty ears are these? Yours, love. Then a woman in front said, if you find a pair of shoes, they're mine. Have you a minute, Father?
Oh, hello, Florrie.
Hello, Pat. I didn't know you were in.
Oh, I was in the lounge with the vicar. Father, the vicar's heard about your legacy.
And I'll bet I know who told him.
It was when he told us the church needed a new organ.
All right, Jimmy. Just go and tell the vicar we'll be along in a minute.
Right, Mum, I'll help him to pick the hymns for next Sunday. Any 3 out of the top 20.
Father, the vicar's got his cousin, Harvey, staying with him.
Oh, aye? And what about him?
Well, he's the headmaster of a boarding school for boys, a very good one, according to the vicar.
Well, what's it got to do with my money?
He suggests we spend it on a good education for Jimmy.
You mean send him to this boarding school?
Yes, and I think it's a very good idea.
I agree. We scrimped and saved to send our Clive to a good school, and it was amazing. Do you know, in no time at all, he could write home asking for money in 5 different languages.
Well, I must say it sounds interesting. Come on, Pat, let's go and have a word with him.
Yes, come on. Excuse us, Florrie, will you?
Oh, that's all right. I'll wait.
I wonder if the vicar's told him yet, Father.
It's a funny one, this vicar. Whose rosy lips are these? Yours, love. And whose
Jimmy. Hello there, Vicar.
Hello, Mr. Sinclair. Nice to see you. Has Mrs. Clitheroe told you of my little suggestion?
Oh, yes, I like it. Have you told Jimmy, Vicar?
Well, yes, in between the jokes.
Hey, Mum, are you really going to send me to this boarding school?
Oh, we might do. Why? Do you like the idea?
Oh, it's smashing. I've read about them places in me comics. It's all playing rugger and going to the tuck shop.
This cousin of yours, Vicar, Mr.
Crabtree, Harvey Crabtree, a highly qualified teacher.
Do you think he'd accept our Jimmy?
That I cannot say. It's not just the fact of your being able to pay the fees. To be accepted, he would first have to be examined.
You mean I've got to take all my clothes off and say 99?
Be quiet, Jimmy. When could he have this examination?
Well, perhaps I could arrange it for tonight, Say sometime after 7 at the vicarage. It'll be a sort of general knowledge test.
Oh, well, that'll be fine. We'll send Jimmy down on the bus.
Alfie's going to the rugby club. He can take me.
Good. I'll arrange it then. Well, James, you really think you'd enjoy going to a public school?
Listen, Vicar, if I have as much fun in a public school as Grandad has in a public house, I'm laughing.
Well, James, I see Alfred brought you on his motorcycle. Has he gone on to the rugby club?
No, he's gone back up the road to look for my stomach. He kept bumping over potholes. I'm not kidding. If I hadn't hung on to his ears, I'd have been off.
Well, I'm surely it wasn't that bad.
It was worse when we swerved in front of a lorry. The driver went mad. Shall I tell you what he called Alfie?
No, don't bother, James.
Oh, it's no bother. He called him a big daft... what's the name of that famous tower in London?
It doesn't matter. Now, is Alfred coming back here?
Why, do you want him to tell you what the man said?
Yes, no. Now, come along. My cousin's in my study, and he hates to be kept waiting.
He shouldn't mind waiting for me. It's not every day he meets a genius.
What a boy. Come along. In here, James. Ah, Harvey, this is Master James Clitheroe.
And about time, too. Keeping me waiting like this, it's not good enough, boy. Most unsatisfactory.
I'm sorry, but I was just telling the vicar.
Don't answer me back. Come over here, boy, with the desk. Come along. Move. At the double.
Oh, yes, Mr. Crabapple, Pear Tree. I'm coming.
That is it. Now sit, boy, sit.
Vicar, he thinks I'm a fox terrier.
Kindly cease that mumbling. Now, before I give you your test, have you anything you want to ask me?
Well, there is one thing. What's the name of that famous tower in London?
James, that will do.
Well, if you never ask, you never learn.
Jonathan, what is the boy mumbling about?
He wanted to know what the tower in London is. Excuse me, will you?
Now then, boy, here is some paper, pencils, and a list of 35 questions.
Oh, well, 35? Does the vicar know I'm staying the night?
You have 5 minutes for thought, 2 minutes for each question. That means it will take you 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Let me look at them. I'll never answer these.
Nonsense, boy. A child of 5 could answer them.
Well, get him in here. I'm going to need some help.
Now, just cut out the joking, boy. I'm going to leave you to it for a few minutes. So, come along, boy. Get to work. Come on now. Come on.
Oh, come on, Pete. It's turned 7 o'clock. Let's go down to the boozer for a few gills.
Oh, I've told you, Higgy, I want to finish painting this hole.
But you don't have to do it yourself. Not now you've got 5,000 smackers to come.
Oh, how did you know it was 5,000?
Your Jimmy told my Ozzy on the phone.
How many big mouth? That'll be on the telly next.
He also told Ozzy about going to that fancy boarding school. And I think you're balmy.
Oh, do you?
Ah, well, you don't want to waste all that brass educating that young brat. Spend it on something sensible. Buy a pub.
Now, look, Higgy, it's a good idea sending Jimmy to the boarding school, and then it'll make a gentleman of him.
Pete, you're talking as wet as that paint you're slapping on. Them sort of schools are just a breeding place for snobs. Stuck-up little brats who go all snooty and don't want to know about the family.
Ah, you don't know what you're talking about. Answer that phone for me, will you, Higgy?
OK, but don't say I didn't warn you. Hello, Clitheroe's here.
This is Brainy Jim, the Wonder Boy. Who's that?
It's Mr. Higginbottom speaking.
Oh, of course. I thought I recognised the foghorn, the voice.
You can just cut that out.
You sound in a bad mood, Mr. Higginbottom. Has the price of beer gone up?
Look, what do you want?
Is your Aussie with you?
No, he's at home, cleaning out his rabbit hutch.
Rabbit Dutch? I thought he lived in the house with you.
I'll belt you when I see you.
Here, give me that phone. What do you want, Jimmy?
Listen, Grandad. I'll have to be quick while old Crabface is out of the room. I want to ask you something.
Well, I'm very busy now. Hurry up.
What's another name for the Northern Lights?
I don't know. Blackpool Illuminations.
What did you say? Oh, heck, he's coming back.
Hello? Hello? Oh, he's a wee terror, that boy.
I've told you, sending that young whelp to a posh school is a sheer waste of good drinking money.
Oh, is it, Mr. Higginbottom?
What? Oh, hello, missus. I was just saying...
I've been listening to what you have to say. What we do with that money is our own business.
I was only trying to say that you can't make a silk scarf out of a pig's ear.
Look, Jimmy will do very well at that school in spite of what you think.
Look, I'm sorry if I talked out of turn, missus.
Well, that's all right then. Father, you've done enough work for one day. It's time you had a rest.
But I'm just going down to the pub with Higgy.
Look, you missed your afternoon nap today. You can go down to the Rose and Crown later on.
Oh, Pat, I feel fine.
You're going to sit down and have a nap?
Oh, all right. I'll be down about 9, Higgy.
Oh, very well, Pete. I'll see you later. I'll be in Bessie's bar. I've got a new joke for her.
I'll see you later, Higgy.
Right, Father. I'm going out with Mrs. Butterworth. When I get back, I'll wake you up with a cup of tea. I'll be back in an hour.
All right. See you later, Pat. Oh, she's right, though. I could do with 40 winks. Oh, best year in the house, this one. Poor old Eggy didn't have get it in the neck. He's all wrong, though. Oh, dear. School will do our Jim a lot of good. He'll be back home like a real little gentleman.
Father, will you please stand straight while I inspect you? Master James will be home soon.
I'm getting fed up with this. Every time Jimmy comes home from that school at Eton on his holidays, I have to be inspected like a bloomin' prize poodle.
Now, you don't want him to be ashamed of us. Remember last time how upset he was when he brought his friend home, Lord Snooty, and you were in your braces.
I won't forget it. He said I was the second guard and I had to sleep in the greenhouse all week.
It mustn't happen again. Now, let's see. Shoes, clean. Trousers, pressed. Have you washed behind your ears? Yes. Well, that'll do until it's time to change for dinner. Black bow tie and dinner suit, of course. And remember not to ask for brown ale. While Master James is home, we drink nothing but champagne.
All right, all right. When's Jimmy coming?
Master James. Oh, you know how he hates to be called Jim. He says it's common. Well, he'll be just arriving at the station now. Mr. Higginbottom will be waiting with his taxi. I hope he's got his best suit on.
Here's your taxi, my lord. I've put your trunks in it.
Oh, gratis, my man. Here's a sovereign for you. But don't address me as my lord. It is quite sufficient to say sir and touch your forelock.
Much obliged, sir. Thank you kindly, sir.
Oh, these peasants are quaint.
Come on, Clitheroe, get in till I drive you home.
Oh, it's you, Higgins Senior. I am waiting for you to get out, to open the door and dust the seat, my man.
I'll dust your seat in a minute. Just don't come that hoity-toity stuff with me.
I see that since I left you haven't changed. Not even your shirt by the look of it.
What was that?
Your shirt, I like the look of it. I'd better get in.
Yeah, sit down and shut up. You know what's good for you.
Do start, Higgers. Mater and Grandpapa will be waiting for me with impatience.
He should be waiting for you with his boot, you little horror.
Horror, indeed. That reminds me. How is your monster, her son? Higgers Jr., my chum Oswald.
He's all right, so long as you keep away from him.
But I've got to see him. Our headmaster says that we chaps of the upper classes must not lose the common touch. And I couldn't touch anyone more common than your son.
One more word from you and you'll get my common fist round your upper-class luggo.
Oh, charming.
Was the meal to your liking, James?
Oh, quite adequate, mater. But next time you will remember the caviar, won't you?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
That caviar's very expensive, Jim.
Pardon?
I mean, James. After all, I've only got £3,000 left.
Grandpapa, it's very vulgar to talk about money. Which reminds me I must have £300 for a polo pony.
Polo pony? Now, look here.
Hello, Mrs. Clitheroe. Susan told me to come in while she goes upstairs to change. She's all wet.
That makes two of you.
Yeah, no. No, she fell in the gutter. Off the back when I stopped at the crossing a bit quick. Oh, hello, Jim. Sir. James.
Alfie, would you like a cup of tea now?
No, I'll wait till Susan takes her clothes off. Get slacks off. The bare skirt. Changes her whatnots, I mean.
Don't say any more, Alfie. He'll wait for Susan, Pat. I'll have another cup of tea, though, please.
I am sorry, Grandpapa. You haven't time for more tea. You and I will be leaving in half an hour, so you'll have to pack the bags.
Leaving?
Yes, I've been invited to spend the night at Lord Snubwell's home.
But I haven't been invited.
Of course not. But he'll expect me to bring my own manservant, so that's you. Anyway, pack my bag and get your butler's clothes on.
That does it. I won't go. I'm not doing it.
Father, don't annoy James. You must go.
I don't care what happens. I won't be a servant. I won't.
Stop, Father. Please. Stop it. Stop shouting. Wake up.
No. Oh, Pat, what is it?
Well, you were shouting in your sleep. Here, have this cup of tea.
Oh, what a dream. I could do with a large whiskey, never mind tea. Oh, dear. Pat, I dreamt our Jim was at college and he was a terrible snob, and I was his butler and...
All right. It was only a dream.
But maybe it's a warning, like...
Oh, don't be ridiculous. That busybody Higginbottom put the idea into your head. College will make a man of our Jim. We'll be proud of him.
You're right, of course, Pat. It'll be money well spent.
Oh, I hope Jim's doing the test all right for the headmaster. He must be nearly finished by now.
Oh, he'll be all right. He's a smart boy.
Oh, just think, Father. Our Jim at college, growing up to be a real gentleman, talking like a BBC announcer.
Well, I think he's a rotten load of old codswallop.
How dare you talk to me like that, boy? Hey, what?
Well, how can he give me none out of 100? I did every question. I deserve some marks.
Yes, upon your rear. I suspect that you have been deliberately facetious with some of your answers.
Oh, is that good?
No, I'm wrong. You are a moron.
I'm not. I'm Church of England. Anyway, what's wrong with me answers?
Well, I shall just take one or two at random. Here, question. What did Hannibal cross with his elephants, and why? Your answer. Hannibal crossed pigs with his elephants.
That's right, to get big pork chops.
And history. Charles II followed James I. Who followed Charles II? The answer is not Nell Gwyn. This test has been a complete waste of time.
That's what I said. Ask me some proper questions like, how do you make stink bombs? Or a cake last? How do you know
Just a minute, boy. How do you make a cake last?
Take small bites.
Oh, get out. Get out of this room.
It was only a joke. It's not my fault if I can't do none of the rotten questions.
What did you say, boy? You couldn't what?
I can't do none of them questions.
Oh, your grammar. I cannot do any of the questions.
Well, if you can't do them, what chance have I got?
I mean, you must not say I can't do none of the questions.
Why don't you want the vicar to know you're ignorant? Well, I'll keep your secret.
What are you talking about?
Them questions what I can't do none of.
What you can't do none of?
Them questions I keep telling you about. Oh, don't some mothers have them?
Look, it's no good hanging about in the street. You'll have to go in the house sooner or later.
Well, the later the better. If only Granda was at the pub, I could sneak up to bed and pretend to be ill.
You'll be ill when he finds out you've been expelled from the school before you got in it.
Are you sure he's in the house?
Yes, you sent me to look in the window, didn't you? He was showing a letter to you, ma'am.
Oh, I'll bet the 5,000 quid's arrived. He'll be waiting in to tell me the good news and pat me on the head with a hammer.
Now, look, Jim, the only thing you can do is tell him the truth and say you're sorry.
Look, Father, the only thing you can do is tell Jim the truth and say you're sorry.
But, Pat, he set his heart on going to that boarding school. Going to be terrible shock when Jimmy finds out we can't send him.
I finished the dishes, Mother. Mother? Oh, what's the matter? Is something wrong?
Your grandfather's just had a letter from the solicitors about his legacy.
Oh, don't tell me that man didn't leave you 5,000 after all.
Oh, Pierre left me 5,000 all right, but he's French.
Well?
He left me 5,000 francs, not pounds.
Oh, dear.
It's something around £400, which means there's no hope of keeping our promise to Jimmy to send him away to school.
Well, I'll just have to make up to him somehow.
Come in, Alfie, but leave the door open for a quick getaway.
Oh, come in, son. Hello, Alfie. Sit down a minute, will you?
Yeah, hello, Mrs. Clitheroe, Mr. Sinclair, Susan. Yeah, I'll sit here in the corner and referee. Oh, the court, I mean, and hang my coat up on the chair.
Well, Jim?
Not very.
I've got some bad news, too. What was that?
Nothing. I've got some bad... You've got some bad news to tell me?
Yes, son. Your granddad has only been left a few £100, not 5,000, so we can't afford to send you to that posh school.
What?
Hey, that's funny, because the headmaster just expelled him behind me, like.
Sorry, Alfie. I thought it was the chair. Yes, the headmaster just explained what I needed to go to his school.
Ah, blooming miracle.
Well, I know it must be a terrible disappointment to you, Jimmy.
Yes, it's a bit of a blow, Grandad.
But it can't be helped, son.
No, just have to be big about it and forgive you.
It's not their fault. Forgive them, indeed.
Now, that will do, Susan. I think Jimmy's taken it very well, and I'll do whatever I can to make it up to him.
Oh, there's no need for that, Grandad. Although, since I'm not going away, I could do with a new bike.
Well, you little...
Watch it, Alfie.
You'll have the bike.
With a 4-speed gear, dynamo horn and racing handlebars?
Yes, of course.
Well, that's settled then.
Of course, my roller skates are pretty old now.
Well,
Mind, I don't expect new ones. Just 'cause you've had to break your promise about the school that I was all set to go to.
Father, can he have the skates as well?
All right, skates as well.
Well, I think he's very lucky.
Yeah, you're not kidding. If he fell in the river, he'd come up with a salmon in his mouth.
With your mouth, it could be a whale.
All right, Mother, I'll see who it is.
You know Charlie Thompson, Grandad?
Yes?
His dad bought him a model aeroplane with a real motor in it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he must think a lot about his son, eh? Just like you did about me when you were going to send me to school.
Now, Jimmy, Grandad's getting you a bike and roller skates.
Oh, I'm very grateful. I mean, I don't want Grandad to worry about me. I'll have me bike and roller skates to go to my ordinary school on.
You're overdoing it.
But it'd be smashing if two fellas had model aeroplanes. Then they could race each other, couldn't I?
Well, son, I'll have to think about this.
Mother, and you, Grandad, the vicar has called and I think you'd better have a word with him. He's in the lounge.
Look, he can wait for the weekly collection. We're busy making up my Grandad's mind to buy me an aeroplane.
Now then, Jimmy, I'll come in and see him, Susan.
You and Grandad had better come. It's not the collection. It's about Jimmy's test with the headmaster this evening.
Oh, is it? Well, we better go in, Pat.
Oh, hey, Grandad, before you go in there, could I have the money for the bike?
I haven't got 20-odd pounds on me.
Well, 2 quid for the skates, then.
He's silly, Jimmy. The shops are closed. Come along, Father.
Right, Pat. We'll settle it all when I come back, Jim.
Well, just give me 2 bob for chocolate, then.
Well, clever fellow. What now?
Can you lend me 4pence?
What for?
To nip outside and phone the police. When Grandad comes back in here, it's going to be murder.
Those involved with the Clitheroe Kid this week were Peter Sinclair as grandfather, Patricia Burke as mother, Danny Ross as Alfie Hall, Diana Day as Susan, and Tony Melody as Mr. Higginbottom, with Molly Sugden, Basil Jones, and John Graham. The recorded program was written by James Casey and Frank Roscoe, produced by James Casey, and starred Jimmy Clitheroe as the Kid himself.